Welcome to this year's AWS Recap. I'm here joined by Gerardo Estaba, who's the Principal Solution Architect at AWS. Gerardo, can you tell us a bit about your role at AWS?
Yes, thank you for having me. So I'm a solution architect and I help partners grow their AWS business, become more capable and deliver more outcomes for customers.
Fantastic. And Justin Green, who's our practice lead at Versent, can you tell us a little bit about your role at Versent?
Sure, thank you for having me too, Josh. As a practice lead at Versent, I just help customers and our teams come together and actually build great things for great outcomes.
Fantastic. And I'm Josh Lopez, the General Manager for Cloud here at Versent. Now, Versent is a born-in-the-cloud consulting company that was founded in Australia. We have 600 employees across Australia and Singapore. We're a premier consulting partner which has competencies in migration, DevOps, and security. Now, today we're here to talk about the recap of the reInvent, which was last week. And there's so many amazing announcements that happened. But this event was the first in-person full event in the last 3 years. So super exciting, and there's a lot of announcements that we're going to go through today. And we are going to make sure that we focus in on the announcements that are beneficial for customers in Australia. But we're really going to take a deep dive into exactly how beneficial you can actually move into being more innovative in AWS. So I'll start by handing it across to Gerardo to talk us through the announcements that he sees as really impactful for our customers.
Thank you, Josh. So I had the privilege of attending reInvent this time for the third time, and it was amazing just to see it coming back together. We had over 50,000 people over there, and I'm still learning about the announcements, to be honest. What I'm going to give you today is the top reInvent announcements in my mind that are most useful and impactful for Australian customers today. So the first one of the rank is Amazon Security Lake, which is a new security service that automates 5 things: the sourcing, aggregation, normalization, enrichment, and data management of security-related data across an entire organization. So it helps customers power use cases such as threat detection, investigation, and incident response. Some of the benefits of the Amazon Security Lake: reduce operational complexity to collect the security logs, events, and just make the data storage and the querying of the data a lot more efficient. You're also reducing the security solution ingestion cost by getting control over what gets ingested. You enable direct access to your security data in long-term data to build custom analytics and machine learning on top of it. And at the end of the day, you're just making it easy for you to choose your own security solutions. This is available in Sydney under preview, meaning you can try it at no cost. Another announcement in security is for Inspector. So until today, customers that wanted to analyze the vulnerabilities of workloads on EC2, containers, and Lambda had to use different tools. But until at reInvent, we actually launched the Amazon Inspector for Lambda functions, which means you can inspect not only the functions, but the layers written in Java, Node, and Python. Now, by default, this service is going to inspect all your Lambda functions in the account, but obviously you can exclude some of them if you want to. When Inspector finds something, all the findings are routed to Security Hub or to Amazon Event Bridge, depending on what you want, so you can build your automated workflows like notifying the relevant teams. This is generally available and in Sydney. Before reInvent, AWS Config provided rules which applied in as detective mode, meaning that you can find when the configuration of your resources have drifted from what you wanted after deployment. But at reInvent, we extended this functionality so you can do it in proactive mode. That way, you can assess the rules before provisioning. So with this feature, you can use AWS Config to check the rules before provisioning and avoid implementation of your own custom validations. This is generally available and in Sydney, so you can try it now. Another security launch is Amazon Macie, which is a data security service that discovers sensitive data using machine learning and pattern matching. And it allows you to get you visibility around the data that you're storing and avoid security risks. So before reInvent, you could only run this. You could choose when to run the discovery. But customers that are operating at scale had the challenge as to what to run first, right? When you have petabytes of data on S3. So at reInvent, we announced the automated data discovery for Amazon Macie. This is a new capability that provides continual organizational-wide visibility into where sensitive data resides on your S3 buckets at a fraction of the cost of actually running the discovery across all the buckets. This is available in Sydney and generally available, so go and try it out. Moving into serverless, we had one of the most exciting announcements, which is Lambda SnapStart, which significantly improves the startup time for serverless applications. This is initially available in Java, and it basically improves by 10 times the boot up of Lambda functions with Java. With SnapStart, the function initialization is done ahead of time, so when you publish a new version of the application. So this diagram shows you the differences of the cold start time for a Lambda function with SnapStart and without SnapStart. And you can see how it's much faster with SnapStart. So welcome to the world of serverless for Java with little to no cold starts. This is generally available and in Sydney. Moving to another announcement in serverless, EventBridge is a serverless event router that helps you receive, filter, transform, and route and deliver events. At re:Invent, we announced the Pipes functionality, which is a new feature that helps you create point-to-point integrations between producers and consumers, optional transform, filtering, and enriching steps. So you are reducing the amount of integration code that you need to write to maintain and build event-driven applications. Generally available and in Sydney as well. One of the most exciting announcements for developers is Amazon CodeWhisperer, which is a brand new service using machine learning that helps developers with recommendations based on natural comments that they make on their IDE. So you can start by using 2 lines of code and simply write a comment in your IDE. CodeWhisperer is going to analyze the comment, determine which cloud services and public libraries are best suited for the task, and recommend code snippets directly on the code source editor. Now, the recommendations are based on machine learning models and open source, including Amazon Code and other open source code. So developers can either accept the recommendation, view more recommendations, or just continue writing their own code. Now, CodeWhisperer is a lot more than just an autocomplete, because you're generating entire functions and logical code blocks at a time, understanding the developer's intent expressed through English comments. And it does more things like vulnerability scans. It gives you alerts on licensing and attribution, and it also alerts you when it detects bias based on common stereotypes in your code. CodeWhisperer is literally bringing the power of ML to the developer's fingerprints. Available in Sydney in preview, so try it at no cost. Amazon AppFlow is the easiest way to automate data flows between SaaS providers and AWS. Now, at re:Invent, it just got a lot more powerful. Now we are supporting over 50 connectors, and some of the highlights are like Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram, LinkedIn, also engagement and service platforms such as MailChimp, SendGrid, Zendesk, and others, and also integrating with some tools like Microsoft Teams, Zoom meetings, GitHub. So if you need to integrate with the SaaS provider and bring that data, AppFlow is the way to go. This is generally available and in Sydney. Now, Redshift, moving into data, is an already powerful cloud data warehousing with the best price performance that you can find in the cloud. And it got even more powerful at re:Invent. I'm going to tell you about 3 of those launches. Spark, Apache Spark is an open source distributed processing system that's commonly used for big data workflows. Some of our customers are using it on EMR, SageMaker, and Glue. But when it comes to Redshift, they had to use third-party connectors, which are not regularly maintained, supported, or tested with the various versions of Spark for production. So at re:Invent, we launched the general availability of Redshift integration for Apache Spark, which makes it easy to build and run Spark applications on Amazon Redshift and Redshift serverless as well. This is a service that is GA and available in Sydney. The second announcement for Redshift is related to streaming. So to process data quickly and as quickly as possible with real-time applications, customers are adopting streaming engines like Kinesis and Apache Kafka. So previously, to load streaming data into your Redshift cluster, you had to configure and process a stage data on S3 before loading. And this could take like a minute or so, which actually kills the real-time nature of the use case. So at re:Invent, we announced the general availability of Redshift streaming ingestion, which basically gives Redshift a native ability to ingest hundreds of megabytes of data from Kinesis or from Amazon MSK, so that you can get a materialized view on Redshift in seconds. So this is generally available and in Sydney. And the last Redshift announcement that I'm going to tell you about is related to dynamic data masking. So Redshift already supported access roles, row-level security, and column-level security. But we've now extended these security features to support dynamic data masking, which is simplifying the process for protecting sensitive data on Redshift. Basically, what you have to do is you go through data with SQL-based masking policies that determine how Redshift returns the sensitive data at query time. So this is the third one and last for Redshift that I'm going to tell you about. This one's on preview, you can try it for free. There are my top Redshift announcements from re:Invent. Moving on to Amazon RDS, our fully managed relational database service, just got a blue-green native deployment feature for the MySQL version and the MariaDB versions, for Aurora and RDS. So when updating databases, a lot of customers are using blue-green deployments, which is a technique that they use to minimize the risk of downtime. Now, customers used to do it themselves for RDS, which sometimes is costly and hard to manage. But with this native feature, the creation of the green or staging environment is actually done for you, and the promotion of that staging environment to production is done for you in as fast as 1 minute with no data loss. Generally available and in Sydney. So moving on, this is an interesting one. How many times have you had monitoring dashboards show you a normal situation when your customers are complaining about it? Look, sometimes it's not your fault, but it's the internet's fault. So this is a new service called the Amazon CloudWatch Internet Monitor, which is a new capability for CloudWatch that gives you visibility into how an internet issue might be impacting the performance and availability of your applications. So it allows you to reduce the time that it takes to diagnose internet issues from days down to minutes. So Internet Monitor uses connectivity data that we capture from our global network footprint based on the baseline performance and availability for internet traffic. This is the same data that we use at AWS to monitor our own internet uptime and availability. So with Internet Monitor, you can gain awareness of problems that arise in the internet experienced by your end users in different locations across the world. So available in Sydney under preview, meaning you can try it for no cost. AWS Verified Access is an interesting one. So traditionally, users have to connect to enterprise networks using VPN, but VPN doesn't provide the best experience to users. And often the policies to grant access are defined in siloed systems, such as VPN gateways, firewalls, identity provider, enterprise device management solutions. So this is not necessarily great or a great experience operationally. So to solve these issues, we launched the AWS Verified Access, which is a service that allows you to provide secure network access without VPN to corporate applications. So Verified Access is built using the AWS Zero Trust security principles, which is just a conceptual model, an associated set of mechanisms that focus on providing security controls around digital assets that do not necessarily rely on the previously used network perimeters security. So some of the 3 benefits of using this is you're just improving your security posture by leveraging multiple security inputs to grant access to your applications. This service grants access to your applications when users and their devices meet the specified security requirements. It can test for things like security posture, among others. So Verified Access validates each application request regardless of the network before granting access. The second benefit is it's just easy to use for users, and this is my preferred one. They don't need to have a VPN client anymore. A simple browser plugin will get them going. As of today, we are supporting Chrome and Firefox web browsers. And the final one is just easier for administrators. So they can now basically set up applications for secure remote access. It provides them a single configuration point to manage and enforce a multi-system security policy and allow them to deny or allow access to corporate networks. This is available in Sydney on preview, meaning you can try it for no cost. Of my top announcements, I think these are the most relevant ones that you can try today for Australian customers.
Thank you for taking us through those awesome service announcements. If you want to learn more about how we can help you with your transformational journey on AWS, please reach out. Thank you for tuning in.